The truth is, Britney Spears dominated pop music in the late 90s and the early 2000s. She was no doubt one of the biggest names of the time. Being thrown in the industry since a young child, the world was able to watch Britney grow and become a superstar. But was that truly a good thing for Britney? Britney is a perfect example of what damage the industry has on young stars. She is an example on how quickly the media can turn their backs on celebrities and label them crazy, and how the industry finds ways to have total control of their artists. Join me in this episode as we uncover the dark truth about Britney Spears. Britney Spears was born in 1981 in McCombs, Mississippi. Being the child of two very religious parents, at an early age, she would begin singing, starting out in her local church choir. At the age of 3, Britney began attending dance lessons. She would also begin participating in her school talent shows and would also enter in many state-level talent shows, winning many of them. As a child, she knew she was destined to make it, stating that she knew what she needed to do since a very young age. When Britney was only 8 years old, her mother took her to an audition for Disney's 1990s The Mickey Mouse Club. She was initially rejected for the role due to her being too young. Fortunately for her, the casting directors were impressed by Britney and suggested her for another project, where she was casted as an understudy. In 1992, the Mickey Mouse Club decided to cast her alongside of Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling, and Kerry Russell. The show was canceled 4 years later in 1996, and Britney went back to her old life. She went back to school, and it wasn't until June 1997 that Britney would be in touch with her manager, who was trying to put her in a pop group named Innocence. Her mother reached out to an entertainment lawyer that was a family friend for his opinion on Britney joining that group. She sent him a karaoke of Britney singing a Whitney Houston song alongside of some photos of Britney. The lawyer decided he wanted to pitch her to some record label executives in New York, so he sent her an unused Toni Braxton song and requested she record it in a professional studio. After a week of practicing the song, she was able to record it and flew over to New York to meet with the label execs. She met 4 different label execs, and 3 out of the 4 labels instantly rejected her due to the fact that she was a solo act, and at the time, boy bands were huge. Just 2 weeks later, the lawyer was contacted by Jive Records and was told that they wanted to sign Britney, which they did quickly and assigned her to work with a big-time producer named Eric Foster White. And for a month, he coached Britney on how he wanted her voice to sound. After Britney perfected her voice, she managed to record a demo to show to the president of the label for his green light on the album, and after hearing it, he quickly granted Britney a full-length commercial album, which Britney began working on immediately. She was flown to Cheron Studios in Sweden. She would go on to record half of her album there. When she returned to the US, her label set her up to go on a mall-to-mall tour, where she would perform from mall to mall promoting her upcoming album. She then went on tour opening up for NSYNC, boosting her popularity even further. After this, she would release her debut solo album in 1999, charting at #1 on the Billboard charts and going platinum, selling 10 million records worldwide, quickly becoming the megastar she is today. This is what you may already know about Britney Spears, because this is what her parents and the industry wants you to know. But the truth is much more sinister. Recently, Britney has come out and exposed her family, accusing them of taking advantage of her and enslaving her to the industry. I believe her parents are guilty of this very thing and much more. Britney seems to be a clear example of a victim of MK Ultra and proof of it being used in the music industry. MK Ultra, for those who don't know, was a name given to a secret CIA operation that was designed to brainwash and control people using experimental drugs and psychological abuse back in the 60s and the 70s. If you would like to see a full video on MK Ultra, please comment MK Ultra below. If at least 90 people comment MK Ultra, the next video will be on MK Ultra. The reason I have come to believe this is no other than Britney's own actions. For example, when she had her very public breakdown back in the end of the 2000s, she was seen doing things that were outside of the normal. This is when we saw the media label her crazy and turned against her. The reason they did this was to discredit her and ensure that nobody would listen to her, so they may silence her and get her back on track. That's why she was forced into rehab and lost custody of her children. This is when she infamously shaved her own head bald. It's important to understand what led her to do this. Britney was given to the industry at a very young age by her parents, and as we learned at the beginning of this video, was molded when she was signed to the label. They changed their voice to sound more high-pitched, and the reason they did this is called frequency programming. The CIA used this very thing to brainwash MKUltra victims. They knew certain frequencies are able to invade the mind better than others. The labels used Britney to spread a good girl gone bad image, like we saw with Rihanna. They wanted to portray Britney as a young, innocent-looking girl who secretly was wild and devious. In her video for Hit Me Baby One More Time, they had her dressed provocative at the young age of 16 in a high school setting, proclaiming how she wasn't that innocent. This is the agenda they wanted to promote, and they were using films and artists to do so. The record labels knew what they were doing with Britney. They were hoping to influence young teenage girls into doing things they shouldn't be doing at a young age. They were hoping to sexualize underage girls and introduce them to a destructive lifestyle. They knew in order to get young girls' morals in line with their agenda, they needed to be able to manipulate them using relatable young stars. And that's exactly what they created with Britney. Even though her voice wasn't anywhere near what they were looking for, she had the look they wanted, and the parents that were willing to give up their child for money. Another thing I would like to talk about was Britney kissing Madonna and Christina Aguilera at the BET Awards, as this was a Masonic ritual done right in front of the masses. They started the performance with little girls dressed in white walking down the stage throwing roses. Those little girls are supposed to represent the sacrifice of innocence. Then Britney and Christina Aguilera are seen walking onto the stage, both dressed in white, representing the oath that is about to be accepted by them. Then Madonna appears, dressed in all black, and walks down exactly 13 steps in a ritualistic manner, and the crowd rises as she starts to sing about Hollywood. She kisses both Britney and Christina as the crowd cheers. What is interesting to know is that Madonna, Britney, and Christina were all members of the Kabbalah Center. If you saw my Ariana Grande video, then you already know a little bit about the Kabbalah. The reason she kisses Britney and Christina is to indoctrinate them and present them as the new high priestess to the order. It is no coincidence that Britney and Christina were both on the Mickey Mouse Club on Disney. Like I covered before, Disney was founded by Walt Disney, who was a Freemason and had connections to the CIA. As we already know, the CIA committed mind-altering experiments on a bunch of unwilling hosts. I believe this is the same trauma that actors and artists go through when they end up in the hands of Disney. The reason they do this is to have complete control of their stars and to be able to have very little resistance when they use them to spread their satanic agenda. When Britney was trying to break free from her trauma, she was quickly discredited and forced into going into conservatorship with her dad. The reason the record labels wanted this to happen is simple. They wanted Britney to have a handler that was a family so the masses wouldn't question why she was now being fully controlled. They learned early on that her parents had no problem using their daughter to make money. They saw her parents having very little interest in her well-being and seemed more interested in money. Britney has recently come out and exposed her parents and her team for mentally abusing her and drugging her.
I was on tour in 2018. I was forced to do. My management said if I don't do this tour, I will have to find an attorney, and by contract, my own management could sue me if I didn't follow through with the tour. I said no to Vegas. My therapist sat me down in a room and said he had a million phone calls about how I was not cooperating in rehearsals and I haven't been taking my medication. All of this was false. He immediately the next day put me on lithium out of nowhere. He took me off my normal meds I'd been on for 5 years. And lithium is a very, very strong and completely different medication compared to what I was used to.
She claims that her management forced her into taking lithium, which she herself states had negative effects on her mental well-being. She also claims they forced her to continue to perform with threats of legal action. They even prevented her from having children by forcing her to have an IUD implanted. She states that she wanted to start a family again since they took her children away from her long ago. Her father is fully responsible for her entire $15 million estate, which according to Britney, he takes full advantage of. What's very interesting is she states that she was most happy when one of her previous doctors died. She claims that he had her in a small room, sedated and isolated. This is very important. The reason I say this is because it sounds very similar to what the CIA would do during their MKUltra experiments. They isolated people and sedated them alongside of many other things. Britney was clearly a victim sold to the industry by her parents, like we saw with Billie Eilish and Michael Jackson and many others. They used and abused Britney in order to spread an agenda to little girls so they may corrupt their morals. Artists like Britney need to be created so that artists like Meg Thee Stallion could be accepted by the masses. They use these artists to spread the morals needed for the New World Order. Britney has been trying to break free since 2007 and has been forced to continue to be the industry's puppet. Britney recently said in court that she wishes her parents and her team would get arrested. She wants freedom from an industry that took her innocence and stripped her of her sanity. All Britney wants is her life that she never got to live. We must remember what power the industry holds over the public perception. We must not allow media to confuse and distract us. They destroyed Britney's mental health and public image in order to manipulate her into falling back in line. Then they used the court system to strip her of her own money and rights. We must remember what agenda is being pushed through these artists. As we see with Britney, some of these artists don't even have control over their own actions, let alone their music. We must not allow them to use these artists to manipulate us. Thank you for watching this episode of The Truth Is. I have a special announcement. I would like to announce the winner of this channel's first ever giveaway, Mrfloydboy. Mrfloydboy has won this time. If you guys are interested in another giveaway, let me know below. If you would like to further support the channel, join me on Patreon, the link would be in the description. If you join before the 28th of this month, you could be entered to this month's monthly raffle, where you can win a shirt, a cash prize, and even pick a video topic. Also, please leave a comment below on your thoughts on this video and on any future topics you would like to see me cover on my channel. If you like this video, please hit the like button, as this helps other people find these videos. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified of future videos. Please follow me on Instagram @TheTruthIs01 and on TikTok @TheTruthIs. I will gladly appreciate it. Thank you. Goodbye. Hey guys, welcome to the first ever Truth Is giveaway. Be picking winners shortly. Alright. The winner is Mrfloydboy. Please contact me as soon as you see this so I can get you your shirt, and you can pick the next month's video topic. Thank you. Goodbye.